And welcome back to coverage here of the Innistrad Championship. Marshall Sutcliffe here with Paul Cheon. Thanks so much for coming along. It's been a long road to get here, but it's time for the title match, Paul. And Simon Görtzen has been waiting for a while, right? He ended up going through the upper part of the bracket with his Izzet Phoenix deck, and he's just been kind of sitting, waiting, and saying, well, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And as it turns out, it's Yuuki Ichikawa bringing, as we've known for a while now, Golgari food to the table for the final. You know, the last three players were all playing this from the same team on the same list, and now it was ultimately Yuuki who emerges as the champion of that team to fight Simon. And we had a brief talk with Simon a little earlier in the day here. He hates the matchup, Paul. He said it might be worse than 70-30. And, you know, a little bit of advice. When a player tells you that, it's often you'll ask the other player and they'll say something similar.
Right.
I don't think that's true here. I think Simon means it. I think this is a really tough matchup for him.
Yeah. No, Simon definitely keeps it real. And even when I briefly spoke with him yesterday, he was just talking about how happy it was that most of the food decks were on the other side of the bracket. So, you know, ultimately, there was no way out of it. Once he was in the finals, there were 3 food decks remaining, and just had to wait for a bunch of teammates to kind of duke it out. One nice thing is he got a chance to really see, if he wasn't familiar with it before, he's probably extremely familiar with how the deck functions now.
That's right. He did get a chance to play against Riku Kumagai in the upper final, and he squeaked by, and it looked tough. Honestly, it looked like Riku had pretty bad draws, and Simon, you know, decent, like not the absolute best, but pretty good draws, and he still barely won.
Yeah. I mean, there was moments where, you know, there were like multiple land drops that were missed, and Simon was really sculpting his hand and had a really great start. And then there was basically like a 1 or 2 turn window where you're like, okay, it looks like Riku might come back here. And then Simon found the clutch Pillar of Flame in both games to be able to close it before Riku was able to turn it around.
Yeah, just as you say that, Paul, we see a Pillar of Flame in hand here for Görtzen. Really key in those games. We'll see if it ends up being important here. Where were you a turn ago, Delver of Secrets? Here's Opt. Is it too slow now for Simon? You know, this is one of the ways that Simon's differentiated his Izzet Phoenix build. He's running 4 Delvers in the main.
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to put some pressure, right? You do not want to get into the late game with this food deck, against this food deck. So I think, you know, given the fact that he has a Sulfur Falls in hand that he can't play untapped, you know, going Delver of Secrets into iteration and hoping this flips is probably kind of one of his avenues to victory.
Yeah, this is always tough because the Delvers in Simon's list, you can't set them up, right?
Right.
Normally when we've seen Delver of Secrets really excel over the years, it's been because you can have cards in your deck that set up the top card of your library. Now it's just cross your fingers. He's got, you know, somewhere around a 40% chance to flip it. That is not a bingo. It is an Arclight Phoenix, though. It is the namesake of the deck. It's usually the type of card that has a high correlation with winning the more of them that you see.
And you take a look here. Simon sees that it's an Arclight Phoenix and is going to put it into his graveyard here.
Cute.
Draw something else. Gets another
Delver.
Then we'll still get a draw for turn. Oh.
Boy, if those were the other way around, he would have been happy.
Yeah.
As it stands, though, he's going to go for Faithless Looting, try to hit a land here. And if he can hit a red source, he could be in business.
Yeah, untapped red source would mean that he would have a Phoenix active here.
Okay. There it is, a mountain off the top, Paul. What does he get rid of? Those expressive iterations kind of represent his mid to late game.
Yeah, might be a little late for this Delver. So, might been one of those. Definitely keeping at least one of the burn spells. Everything else is so good, too. This is pretty tough here.
Looks like... yeah, he's definitely hemming and hawing here. This is a critical early juncture here for Simon.
Yeah. I think it's Delver. The other one may be an iteration. Oh. Consider's just really nice because it's a really cheap spell, but it doesn't get you ahead on cards, which Expressive Iteration does. And you might see Pillar Flame to the face here.
Yeah, he can take out the plant and still get in for the one without it. Oh, wait.
Right, but Deadly Dispute is a thing,
Yeah,
right?
It is. In fact, it's the thing. So that's going to take care of that little problem. But still, it's gone now, and that means that 4 damage is going to be able to come across either way.
And Yuuki does have Fatal Push available, but no mana here. Oh, that was big. So now we can actually cast Meathook Massacre for 2 here, clear the board, force Simon to, I guess, cast 3 spells again next turn to get in with the Arclight Phoenix. So that is an option. That's a line that Yuuki can take.
Now, Simon's got to be happy with getting this Phoenix down so early, but his position does feel precarious.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even clear that he's going to be able to cast 3 spells next turn, right? If, for example, this Meathook Massacre hits the battlefield.
That's right. Let's see what Yuuki goes for here. Well, he's going to go for Witch's Oven. And Gilded Goose.
Slower.
Okay, does this Delver transform? Nope, but it is a land off the top. Definitely not what Simon wanted here. He's got Expressive Iteration that's really good at finding lands anyway, and just finding a spell there would have been nice. Ooh.
Okay.
Iteration, Phoenix, Riverglide Pathway, and an Ox.
Huh.
None of these will end up in the graveyard, however.
Right, and he's got that Faithless Looting, but can't play it until next turn. Still feels like kind of the way that you win is by getting a bunch of Arclight Phoenixes into play. So
that would require him putting it in his hand.
Right, and then probably just exile the land here.
Yeah, so he's going to have to give up on the Ox this time. It's just going to get sent away, but he'll get his land drop for this turn and have the one for next turn as well. And he can attack, which he's going to do.
He's thinking, is there a 1 damage spell? You have a Spikefield Hazard here. Should I not block with my Goose? And I think Simon saving that Unholy Heat for next turn to guarantee that he can, or to increase the chances that he can get that Arclight Phoenix into play next turn.
And Yuki's going to take the more piecemeal approach here. He's going to go for Fatal Push. He still has the Meathook Massacre in his hand, but he's got 3 copies of Fatal Push, one of them gone now. Ooh, but there's a key piece here. Trail of Crumbs.
You might see Simon go for the heat here. You know, he really wants to save that heat to try to get that Phoenix in play next turn. But if you let Trail Resolves, that means Yuki's going to be able to cash that food in for a card with the Gilded Goose he has in play.
Yeah, Simon says, I just cannot afford to hold this Unholy Heat in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and use it here on the Goose. This is Yuuki Ichikawa applying, kind of passive pressure here to Simon and making him react. There's a replacement Goose as well. Ooh, and a replacement Unholy Heat. Hello.
Okay. So if Simon can find a 1-mana spell here, he can Unholy Heat that Goose, play this Faithless Looting, and get two Phoenix in play.
A little awkward. Yeah, we'll see what he can find here. He does have to consider what he may discard. Of course, he doesn't have all the information just yet.
Right.
But let's see what he finds.
Yeah, I guess the other option is just playing the Phoenix and just attacking for 6.
Hey, he did it. He found a Faithless Looting and even a land that he can get rid of here as well.
And maybe you get the... I don't know if he bottomed anything, but maybe you want to thin out your deck. I don't know.
This also lets him get another chance at another Phoenix here, Paul.
Right? Yeah. I mean, he's certainly going to cast his Faithless Looting here. So yeah, you play the Fabled Passage, crack, get a Mountain, increase the chances of maybe hitting another Phoenix here.
Or 2.
Wow.
We can dream, right?
I mean, hey, look. If you want to dream big, it's the finals.
That's right. This is the time to do it. Here comes Faithless Looting. Let's see if he can find another copy of Arclight Phoenix. Not this time. It's Dragon Rage Channeler and Opt. And remember, he's got to get rid of 2 of these cards and still cast Well, he can choose now between Opt and Unholy Heat, but getting that Gilded Goose off the battlefield seems very strong here.
Yeah, but he also just needs to be mindful that, hey, there's a decent chance that Meathook Massacre might come in next turn, right? And if that's the case, Expressive Iteration is the card that gives you the best chance of rebuilding.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a one-card way to get your Phoenixes back. Like,
right.
That's one of the few cards that does that. Is Yuuki considering a Fatal Push here to keep his life total up?
Yeah. He just really doesn't want to go down to 7 there.
Right, and he also needed to hit a land drop to be able to Massacre for 2, right?
Right.
Because the goose died.
Right, but sacking the food is, it's buying him a turn, right? That's 3 damage from the Phoenix, and he gets to find a land here. But that was his turn, right? That's it. That's all you did.
Yeah, this is big here. Can Expressive Iteration earn that Phoenix back again and keep the pressure up? Ooh, Finale of Promise is the other way, usually, to get your Phoenix back out of 1 card.
That's the old one-stop shop, right? You just need a single Finale to be able to cast 3 spells.
He also sees Opt and Faithless Looting, so he's even able to do this the good old-fashioned way, Paul. With Expressive Iteration into Opt, into Faithless Looting, he will get it back and again have a chance to flip over another Arclight Phoenix. So very nice hit here. The question is, which one don't you want? Does he have to bail on the Finale?
Finale is probably the one. Finale is the one you keep. The question is, what do you keep between Opt and Faithless Looting? Because Finale, I mean, it's possible he doesn't even play the Finale this turn and tries to just find a different spell. No, okay, he's playing it this turn.
And that'll guarantee that he gets the Arclight Phoenix back. He can play this for 1.
Yeah, so you have Sorcery and Instant, and maybe you cast the Faithless Looting and try to hit another Phoenix?
Definitely. And that's what's going to happen. He's going to order which one to cast first. It's going to be Faithless Looting second, and then Consider first.
That'll go into Yard.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to want that one. He draws a Consider off of Consider, and no more Phoenixes here, but still a nice hand, and he's set up to get him back again next turn if the Massacre does come down. This is really good sequencing here from Görtzen. He gets in down to 7, falls Ichikawa in our opening game of our opening match here.
But we're going to see probably Meathook Massacre here for 2. That's going to put Yuuki back up to 9. If the other thing that you could do is just pass, sack a food, and double Fatal Push, right? That means you save a tremendous amount of damage because there is no damage he's going to take this turn because he can't rebuild until the next turn.
That's right. Yeah, taking advantage of the way that Arclight Phoenix works against Simon in that case.
Yeah, and giving up a little bit of value too, because that is.
Ooh, there's a Phoenix revealed with Consider. He took it into his hand, and he's just going to hard cast it. Really smart by Simon here.
So many Phoenix.
Triple Arclight Phoenix now for Görtzen. He sends in with all of them, and yes, Yuuki can gain 3, get a trail. Can he pay for trail and double? Ooh,
okay, so he's just going for 1 push. So he could find an extra permanent here. But this is going to put him down to 4. If he Meathook Massacres, that puts him to 6, and then he's going to die if Simon can find another spell to get these Phoenixes back, right?
That's right.
Wow.
Interestingly, Simon playing a land there as well. He's got Faithless Looting in hand. And Consider. He's 2/3 of the way to getting all of his Phoenixes back, assuming they're not on the board anymore.
Well, with the lands that he has in play, he just needs these 2 cards, right? He can cast Faithless Looting, flash it back, and play Consider.
Right,
and just bin whatever he draws.
So that it means he doesn't get anything off of the Faithless Looting as far as spells go, but who cares, right?
Right.
He can just guarantee
the big thing Simon is thinking here is like, I got a lot of pressure here. Yuuki probably has to play a Meathook Massacre here. And if he does, I can just get him with what I have.
So is Yuuki going to do so? Here's Cauldron Familiar. Up to 5 goes Ichikawa.
I mean, the alternative thing that he can do is just gain life. Just play lands and
Get
and
up to
just
10?
sack food to gain life.
Oh, that feels so risky.
Right, but I think Yuki believes... Oh, he is very happy
Oh.
about this.
You saw him nod his head there. He finds Soul Guide Lantern with Trail of Crumbs.
Yeah, this is big because he can even Fatal Push another Phoenix this turn and then exile both of them
Okay.
if he wants.
Huge draw step there for Yuuki Ichikawa. The main deck Soul Guide Lantern doing work for him here. Simon draws Spire Bluff Canal for the turn. And he's going to survey the scene.
So Yuki can go up to 9 if he wants, right? Just sack a food to gain 3 life. So Pillar of Flame is not an out this time. Another Phoenix would be very strong, right?
Yeah, he would need to just draw it, though.
He would need to draw the last Phoenix in his deck.
Yeah, because if he puts it in the yard, it's vulnerable to Soul Guide Lantern, but he can just cast it.
Right. I mean, you can consider and you can Faithless Looting.
He can see with a lot of cards here, and after both of those, he'll still have the mana to cast the Phoenix.
Right.
Land is going to get binned,
So,
and he finds Fading Hope.
yeah, that doesn't
That's
do much.
not
All
gonna
right.
do it. All right,
Phoenix?
Faithless Looting, maybe into a
Phoenix?
hard cast Phoenix. Oh,
Phoenix!
he hit it! It's a
Phoenix!
Arclight
Is that
Phoenix
enough?
off the top.
That's 9 damage. You gain 3. I mean, I think this is Xaxes. I don't think Yuki has another way to gain life after sacrificing the food, right? You can
Phoenix number 4 for Simon Görtzen?
You can sack Soul Guide Lantern and Fatal Push, but that's still 6 damage and you won't have mana to sack food.
And Yuki Ichikawa's looking. He puts his hand on his head. He says, really? The 4th one you found all of your Arclight Phoenix?
The 4th Phoenix.
Ichikawa cannot believe what he sees. He leans back and crosses his arms in disbelief. Simon is a statue.
Oh,
he is not giving away anything. There it is, Arclight Phoenix on the battlefield. Yuki's had to fight through all 4 of them.
Wait, I just need 1 more mana.
And in come all 3 Arclight Phoenix. There's no way out here for Ichikawa. He says, I've got 2 options. I can kill 1 and take 6, or I can gain 3 and take 9.
Jeez.
Unbelievable from Simon Görtzen.
Should he have not played the Familiar? If he didn't play the Familiar, he could have gained 3 and Fatal Pushed?
And it didn't change the clock. Going from 5 to 6 against a pair of Phoenix, that's the same.
Right? I mean, also, but if you play the numbers right, it's like, that's your last Phoenix.
Yes. He's going to draw card.
Oh, you can...
Oh, he's going to exile Graveyards with Soul Guide Lantern.
I thought he was going to...
Fatal Push, but that's just not enough.
That's not enough. I thought he was going to maybe draw a card to find 2 pushes, maybe?
You have to pay a mana, though. And that's it.
Yeah,
Game number 1 goes to Simon Görtzen, who says, no problem, just draw all 4 of my Phoenix. Now, to be fair, the deck's very good at churning through the library to find them, but still 4?
Right,
Come on,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
amazing.
finding the 4th. Also, I wasn't sure if Simon's camera was on there. I thought you would see something after being able to find that 4th Phoenix for the win.
Job not done. He's got work to do. That was incredible stuff. Really, from both players, just trying to play the smallest edges possible, but ultimately, Simon Görtzen picks up the first game. God, that was impressive.
Yeah.
It also shows how tough the matchup is, because the draw from Yuki was okay, but Simon had it all and still barely got over the finish line there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the power of the Phoenix deck. We don't call it Izzet Dragon's Rage Channeler, right? We call it Izzet Phoenix because so much of the strength of the deck is the fact that this deck is so resilient to removal. Because look, you kill these hasty flyers, they're going to come back. unless you find a way to exile those cards from play. And Yuuki Ichikawa just found a Soul Guide Lantern a little too late there. But after sideboard, you're going up to the full 4 copies. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for Simon to rely on his graveyard as a path to victory.
So brutal for Yuuki, right? Because remember, he had the sweeper plus the lantern. He could get all the phoenixes in the yard and get rid of all of them with that Soul Guide Lantern. He was that close. 1 life.
I feel like every single one of these games Simon has played against the food deck, it's been 1 life.
Yeah, that's why the Pillar of Flame has been so critical, just to get every little bit. There is nothing to give from Simon's side. Let's see if Yuuki can right the ship and get back on track here in game number 2 of our opening match. We were playing best 2 out of 3 matches, I'll remind you, if you are just tuning in.
Oh, this hand is it just needs 1 more land. This hand is so perfect here from Yuuki, right? You've got almost everything.
Yeah, just needs a cat and a land, and he's good to go. He's going to start off, though, with a Goose of the Gilded variety. Nice hand for Simon here as well. Wow, Unholy Heat and also Delver. Do you need to take the turn to get rid of this Gilded Goose? Already a question.
I mean, turn 2 Trail of Crumbs into Goose is pretty annoying.
Well, looks like Simon is going to take it.
And no land here.
No land for Ichikawa.
No land.
Uh-oh. Now, of course, the next question becomes, is this Delver going to flip for Simon? That's one of the kind of main variance points, I guess you could call it.
Right, but now Yuuki has missed this land drop. Simon is firing off that Unholy Heat.
Definitely, and Yuuki says, please don't flip the Delver at least, and he does look like he's going to have that.
It's interesting because Drake is a really good card in this matchup because it does a great job of fighting through lanterns and graveyard hate. But maybe he wants more lands or more interaction. He does have a lot of card draw, though, in his hand.
Jeez, it's been 2 turns, and Simon's already faced down some really tough decisions, right? Do you get the Delver down? Do you Unholy Heat? Went for the Delver. Now has to decide, am I okay getting this Crackling Drake into hand for the way later game? That is not going to be relevant for a while here when he has quite a bit to do in between. It's just such a good card for the late game.
Okay, he wants to consider it away here.
Okay, it's going to go in the bin, and a Pillar of Flame. There it is.
No
and
flip.
And a land off the top as well.
Not going to be happy about this dead goose.
I suppose you use Unholy Heat here, Paul. The Pillar can go upstairs. No, it's going to be Pillar right now.
Maybe saving Heat for the squirrel, but that was... Yuuki needs to just string together some lands here.
Land. Oh, it's another Trail of Crumbs. The only good news for Yuuki is he has a answer here for the Delver of Secrets with Fatal Push. So he's not going to just get completely ran over, even if it transforms on Simon's turn. But this is really tough for Ichikawa. He has run horrible here.
Flip.
And now it flips. So it's going to get in for 3. And, this is just where the tax starts to add up, right? Yeah, he has the Fatal Push, and he can kill the Insectal Aberration with it, but he has to. And that means he can't do other stuff in the meantime.
Right. And now with that Soul Guide Lantern in play, likely going to see potentially a hard cast Phoenix here. Although, given that Yuuki is missing land drops, there's a really good chance that he's just going to have to cycle that for a card.
Yeah, I think that's why he played it out, just because he knows he'll get 2 shots at it next turn.
Yep. Simon's like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, 4 mana, 3/2 Flying Haste. I'm down for that too.
Yep. Sometimes you just do what you got to do. Land for Yuuki. Yes, there is a land off the top of the library here for Ichikawa. It's a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Is it too late is the question. And the answer is probably no, right?
No,
He's got some time.
Yeah, I mean, this was the turn he really needed it. The great thing about this too is perhaps he doesn't need to sacrifice the lantern. He can be a little bit more patient, although I imagine he still will cycle. It's so important for him not to miss his land drops here.
Going forward, yeah.
Yeah.
So he can go Squirrel and Fatal Push this turn?
Yeah, that's...
There it is.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
The classic. Ooh,
Oh.
there's a crackling drake off the top of the library now for Simon. That could be a game changer.
Yuuki does not have an answer for this crackling drake.
Yeah, and we've seen how big these crackling drakes get. They do not care about Soul Guide Lantern. So is it more important for Simon to get Arclight Phoenix on the battlefield? Or is it more important to set up Crackling Drake and then maybe Phoenix next turn?
Yeah, I mean, this just seems like such a good time here to run out the crackling drake. But if you feel like Yuuki likely has another fatal push here and you want him to use a removal spell on something else, maybe it's the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go with Opt, you're not going to be putting pressure this turn, but Simon wants to maybe set up for future turns here.
Fading Hope off of the Opt.
Or does he just want to get Lantern off the battlefield and is potentially willing to risk losing a Phoenix?
So the thought process being that it basically takes a card from Ichikawa.
Right.
If he has to use the Lantern, then he won't be able to
draw a card off of it. Because now you can kill the squirrel if you want. Right?
Yes.
And then the trigger will come on the stack, and then Yuuki has to decide whether or not he wants to... Yuuki has to decide whether or not he wants to use the Lantern to remove the Phoenix, which is really tempting here.
Interesting play here from Simon because he's forcing Yuuki now to basically give up a draw step down the line. There goes the Arclight Phoenix. Yes, it's no longer in play, but he's going to pass the turn back. And it's a tap
It's land. a land. It's
garden.
a land.
Don't get picky.
Don't get picky. It's a land. And you know, honestly, if you're Yuuki, you're not too sad about what happened there. Right? Mm-hmm. There was pressure. You were afraid of a big flyer coming into play that turn. And you know, he has the backup Lantern here too. So
yeah, he took 0 damage for the turn. Simon spent a bunch of mana, was card neutral there, but didn't get any damage out of it and no board presence either.
So Yuuki just needs to, as it stands, needs to just find an answer here for the Crackling Drake.
Right, that's really the key. Consider is going to go into the graveyard. Ooh, and there's a Dragon's Rage Channeler as well. But here it comes. Crackling Drake already a 9/4.
9/4. Jeez. Fatal Push. Oh, another. Didn't he bottom one?
He did.
No, or put one in the graveyard or something?
It's gone. Yeah, one of them's gone. He put it in the yard. He also has Fading Hope, which is interesting here. But yeah, 9/4 Crackling Drake plus a Dragon's Rage Channeler. No land this time for Ichikawa. He finds another Witch's Oven.
Right.
This is a desperation Trail of Crumbs. What can he even find at this point with Trail?
There's Meat Hook Massacre, but I mean, you need a lot more mana to be able to get that Crackling Drake off the battlefield.
Goose buys you a turn.
Can he play the Goose this turn? He can either
Nope.
get land or Goose, right?
Yeah, you're right. He wants both. Yeah, he really would like to have both, but he can't. There's a chance that he dies here, right? Like Crackling Drake plus Channeler, if it gets online, just as they sit, is 12. I guess at 18, he's not going to be dead. Or
Right.
17.
Also, there's a Soul Guide Lantern in play, so it's unlikely that the Channeler will
Channeler's
be a 3/3.
not going to be on. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ichikawa can have a sip as he watches Simon Görtzen not quite kill him.
I mean, that being said, you have to deal with double
You've got
Drake.
a lot on your plate.
You have
Double
to deal with
Crackling Drake.
right. And in this situation, even if Yuuki finds a Phyrexian Tower, he would still be 1 mana short here of killing both Drakes. And he can even use Fading Hope to save one of his Drakes.
Yes, he can, and that's card advantage as well because it draws a card when it ETBs.
Yeah,
and he's going to leave up Fading Hope, pass the turn back
tough.
over. It's another untapped land, but his hand just doesn't have it. He's got Witch's Oven, Gilded Goose, Trail of Crumbs, and now Alana. He doesn't have any removal.
He doesn't. I mean, he can draw one more card here, right? You can sacrifice your Soul Guide Lantern. You find a Fatal Push, kill one of the Drakes. You play a Goose. but the goose gets heated, and I think Simon's gonna win the first match here.
This would be absolutely incredible for Görtzen, facing down a very tough matchup, and Yuuki Ichikawa just cannot have ran worse here in this opener. His draws have been horrendous, but honestly, this is what Simon needs to pick up a win in one of these matches.
I think Simon can probably just wait till and fully untap here. He has a negate in hand. Yeah.
Yes.
I like this.
I may as well draw. Sure.
Upkeep before with Chandler in play.
Sure.
Makes some sense, yeah.
And that's going to do it. Simon Görtzen picks up match number 1 from Yuuki Ichikawa in the Izzet versus Food match. I'm really impressed that Simon was able to do so. But I think that if you were paying close attention here, you could see how difficult that was for Görtzen. I mean, he drew all of his Arclight Phoenix in the first game and won by a point, 1 point of damage. Like, it was that close.
Yeah, and I mean, the card for Simon, this entire top 8, has got to been those Crackling Drakes, right? It allowed him to come back against the Creativity deck, even after the Creativity deck went off. And then now here, Crackling Drake, basically the best kind of threat that you have when people start targeting your graveyards.
Incredible stuff there. And it turns out Crackling Drake doesn't care if your graveyard gets exiled, and that's really the key, because it's counterplay for when people go after your graveyard, and it's working out really well for Simon. He's picked up the first match here in our final, but we do play best 2 out of 3 matches for a reason. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have match number 2. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to coverage here of the Innistrad Championship. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. We are in the finals. If you're just joining us, we're playing a best 2 out of 3 matches between Simon Görtzen and Yuuki Ichikawa. And as it stands, improbably, Simon has picked up the first match. It took about all the firepower he could muster there, Paul. All 4 Arclight Phoenix in the first game, and in the second game, it was 2 copies of Crackling Drake and some very serious mana issues there for Yuuki that got the job done. So Yuuki's got to shake this off and try to get back in because he's still favored in the matchup pretty heavily.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, none of the Izzet decks wanted to run into the food decks, but Simon's got the lead. He's got to be feeling pretty good here. He's 2-0 on the day against these Golgari food decks, right? So
right, that's right. What's the big deal? He says.
Yeah,
I got it.
I thought this was a bad matchup, but
he's got a tough decision here with Steam Vents, Delver, Fading Hope, Opt, Expressive Iteration, but double Finale of Promise. Oh, but that was already on 6, Paul, so that's a much easier decision.
Right.
And he's going to keep it and put one of the finales on the bottom of the library.
Yuuki.
Now, is Yuuki on 6? Is he on 5?
No, he's on 6, but he's got a much better hand here. Turn 1 Goose into Trail of Crumbs, the classic 1-2, and Simon does not have the removal spell here for the Gilded Goose. So Yuuki really going to have a pretty smooth start here.
Feels good to play your second land on turn 2, doesn't it,
yeah.
Yuuki? You should do that more often. There's Trail of Crumbs hitting the battlefield. Delver, is it going to flip? Big moments early, these Delvers flipping. It is.
Yeah.
There's an Opt revealed. And that's a clock. And Ichikawa is, okay, we got ourselves a game.
Okay.
Thought this one might be easy with the Goose into the trail, but
right.
Insect Elaboration might have something else to say about it.
He's like, come on, man. How many? He's probably looking up the deck list right now. How many spells you have in there?
He's counting. Look, he's counting him up.
This is he's getting ready for the angry Twitter post if he loses. He's like, my opponent on the 35%er here.
Yeah, hit the 40% 3 times in a row or whatever. Okay, Opt goes into hand here for Görtzen. He's going to start off by just casting another one. Suppose finding a burn spell for the Goose would be nice at this point.
Yeah.
But it's a Steam Vents, which he also could kind of use. He's got a land drop for the turn, but no lands after that.
But I think he thinks he has a good shot at finding lands, given that he still has an Opt and an Iteration in his hand.
Mm-hmm. He found Arclight Phoenix. It's now in his hand. And it looks like he's going to get aggressive here and Fading Hope the Gilded Goose to send it back. That's going to cut off mana and food production. But he does get to combo off here, as it were. He gets to sacrifice the food to the Goose to make a mana and then use the mana to pay for the trail. Ooh, there's an Unholy Heat.
Yeah, and that's a way to kill either the Squirrel or the Goose here.
And again, an interesting question on do you want to keep it? Yes, you would like to have an answer, but you know, those land drops do matter.
Okay.
Cat into hand.
Cat in the hand, so Yuuki just needs to find the oven here.
That's right. First he's going to play a Colony Garden. What else does he have? A Ravenous Squirrel.
He's just playing everything here.
Just going to dump his hand in the Gilded Goose as well. So this Unholy Heat is going to have to do some work for Görtzen. He has to pick which one of the creatures to kill.
Yeah, and he really wants to find a land here, and the best way to do that is the Expressive Iteration.
I know. You want to gamble?
The deepest.
It does, but if you miss, it's all you do for the turn.
If you miss, it is very bad. So wants a land here. Okay.
Finds an Expressive Iteration, and that means that he's going to have to settle for Unholy Heat.
Right. And what do you go for? Okay, wants to slow down the card flow here that Yuuki has.
Yeah, that also keeps the damage flowing. Down to 12 goes Yuuki, but he has 2 food in the pantry, so that 12 is really closer to 18, and let's make it 19 with the Cauldron Familiar hitting the battlefield as well.
Yeah,
and now Deadly Dispute. Is there going to be an oven in here?
Oh,
no,
and that's a push.
Really nice. Fatal Push plus land.
And now, I mean, Yuuki just has it all for at the moment. He has the card advantage engine here with the Trail of Crumbs. He's got the removal spell for the Insect Elaboration. He's got a clock now here with this squirrel.
This is how he drew it up.
Yeah. And draws like this are the reason why you go, you know what? I don't like this matchup.
Right. And you're going to see the untapped Overgrown Tomb. Never a good sign here for Simon.
Not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
Shock, go.
Yep. There's an island off the top of the library here for Görtzen, so his mana problems, at least hopefully for him, will subside a bit. He's going to lead off his turn with Expressive Iteration into no land. This is one of those draws that is just not coming together for Simon.
Right, and keep in mind too now, I mean, Simon is not the only one with threats on the battlefield. He's down to 12, and we're looking at a giant squirrel that's in play that's just threatening to get bigger here.
Yeah, it's already 4-4, and they don't stay that way for long.
Maybe this might be a chump blocking Delver.
Yeah, down to 9. Whoop, there's that fatal question. Simon will have predicted that given the untapped land.
Yeah.
This does mean that this Delver is going to stick on the battlefield, at least for now. Ooh, another Ravenous Squirrel too, so big pressure here from Yuuki Ichikawa, putting together a very nice game here in our opening game of the second match. He needs to win this match to stay alive.
Yeah, so now you can go squirrel, sack food, put a counter on both of your squirrels, gain 3 life, draw a card.
And you're facing down a 1-1?
Yeah.
Looking good for Ichikawa. 5 damage coming in. Simon's just going to take it. He's down to 7.
Yeah, I mean, Simon just needs to find a way to get Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard. Faithless Looting would be nice. Maybe something like Expressive Iteration into a Consider into Faithless Looting or something like that.
Yuki's verbalizing his options here. Maybe going to bring back the cat to get in another couple of damage. It'll be 6 from the squirrel now.
Right, so this will be 7 after the drain too.
So down to 5. The Delver does not transform, and this is a game that just completely fell apart here for Simon, and he can probably just chalk this one up to it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Because
it's just, God, it's just ridiculous how quickly these squirrels can just get out of it. These are 1-drops we're talking about.
1 mana creatures. He's paid 2 mana. He has 9 power right now from them.
Does he have Delirium? Maybe he can heat the squirrel, but even then he would have to shock. Yeah.
And he's going to scoop him up. That's game number 1 here in our second match, going to Yuuki Ichikawa. Finally gets on board, and things went very smoothly. Some slight stumbles from Simon, and that's all it took.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, it's also one of those things where you have to consider, you know, some people might ask, hey, well, why didn't he take the land or what have you? But it could also have been a situation where you're looking at what's on the board right now, and you're thinking, okay, well, this is a tough matchup. I'm going to take a few more riskier lines in this head-to-head, because that's what it's going to take for me to get that game 1.
Mm-hmm. Simon gets to consult the sideboard, but of course so does Yuuki.
Gets to bring his
trying to stay alive here and force a third and deciding match. He's put himself in a good position to do so. He just needs to win this game or the next to make that happen.
Gets to bring in his MVP here, the triple Crackling Drake.
Drew all 3 of them in game 2 of the last match. Maybe do that again. The way that the games play out are just such that Yuuki has to use removal on stuff before Crackling Drake, and then the last creature standing is a Crackling Drake.
Right.
And it's like 10 power in the air.
And the thing is, this deck doesn't really have a lot of spot removal. It leans really heavily on those 4 copies of Fatal Push, right? You have the 4 Fatal Push, 1 Mortality Spear, but that's it. And you could eventually get to a point where you can cast the Meathook Massacre, but I mean, again, in order to cast a big enough Massacre to kill the Drake, you're going to need 6 mana.
That's right.
And I think a lot of games do play out where you do get to 6 mana. It's just what we saw in that previous match. He kept a bit of a risky hand in that second game, right, with the 1 land, and just could never get close to 6 lands.
Okay, both players have submitted, so we're heading in to the second game. And let's see if Yuuki Ichikawa can even things up. He likes his hand, gives a nod. Both players like their
great
openers.
hand for both.
Yeah, Simon's on the play here. He gets to lead off with a Delver of Secrets. It's really scary on the other side. Yuuki does have a Fatal Push, though.
Yeah, but Yuki's hand is equally as good.
Wow.
Goose into Trail of Crumbs, Goose, Lantern, removal. I mean, he's just kind of got it all here.
And there's that Crackling Drake on top of the library again for the Delver of Secrets that will not be transforming it this time.
He put it in the graveyard last time with a Consider. Exact same type of scenario here.
He's looking at what else he may want to cast this turn. One reason to put cards into your graveyard is Griv Malavamancer.
Yuki going, okay, if you flip this one too, I'm going to really do the math.
I'm going to tell you the exact percentage you had, buddy. There's a Consider. And yes, he is going to put that in the bin. That's going to find Faithless Looting.
Yeah, wants a removal effect.
He found the replacement Drake again, too, which is the same thing that happened last time. Kind of funny. So does he want the Channeler or the Grim Lavamancer? He already has an active Grim Lavamancer. It's got to be tempting.
Yeah, I think you're going to go with the Lavamancer here, right? It forces the action here from Yuki. It's basically, if you don't have a removal spell, then your Goose is done.
Your Goose is done, and it's not going to cost me much. And, you know, that graveyard's not going to get any smaller on Simon's side. He's going to keep dumping cards in. It's going to be up to Yuki to stem that bleeding with the Soul Guide Lantern he's got in his hand. But here it is, Fatal Push on the Grim Lavamancer, and this is exactly what Simon forced. There's Soul Guide Lantern. And that'll nab an opt out of the graveyard. And then he can even Goose into Goose. This just gives him an extra one, same situation. Otherwise, Delver is going to flip off of a pillar.
Okay.
We're going to have to see Faithless Looting here.
The eyes closed, like, ah.
Not only does it transform, but it's also a removal spell for one of the geese. It's tough. Couldn't have been an opt.
It's not too bad if you're Yuki because he's got the backup Goose, right? There are 2 in play.
Right. Curious if we're just going to see Faithless Looting here, or if it's going to be Pillar plus Channeler, or the other way around.
His hand is so good. He wants land. The other option would be to just run out Channeler into Pillar of Flame.
Yeah.
Channeler isn't... You're not going to expect it to be a 3/3 because of the Soul Guide Lantern in play, but it does help you kind of look at the top and make sure you do hit your land drops.
Right.
It could also force
it
could also force a Soul Guide Lantern sacrifice, right? Which is something to consider because then you can set up for that Faithless Looting into Arclight Phoenix play.
Right, because we haven't seen any Arclight Phoenix here from Simon just yet, so that could absolutely be a thing.
Okay. Gonna keep that one this time.
Okay, well, let's see how this works out. Going for the Faithless Looting instead.
All right, and really valuing that negate for potentially that Meat Hook Massacre. Knowing that the spot removal spell it doesn't really do much given the redundant copies of Gilded Goose.
There's a Trail of Crumbs.
Yep, but now, I mean, we have... Yuki can look at the top 4 cards of his library and choose the best 2 permanents here. Still facing down this Aberration, but has a decent amount of life to work with.
Does he want a 4th land? Kind of.
Yeah?
It looks like he feels like he can afford to put it in the bin here. Yep.
Okay.
Here's why.
Yeah. So maybe land Fading Hope?
Yeah, he does seem to keep that negate dear to his heart.
Right. This does turn on the channeler. So now we're chunking in for 6 at a time here.
Is this enough to force Yuuki to use the lantern?
I mean, given that Simon only has 2 cards in hand, it's pretty unlikely for Simon to recur Arclight Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you do want to just minimize the damage you take because you're getting set up here for the late game. You have the Trail of Crumbs. You have Gilded Goose.
Yeah, let's see what Yuuki does. Would save him 3 damage.
Yeah, he can block Channeler, and yep, he's blocking Channeler, and he's going to sack the Lantern.
And then the Channeler will become just a 1/1. And it'll bounce off the Gilded Goose. Okay, so that means, though, that from Simon's perspective, that one shot with the Soul Guide Lantern is gone. Now, he doesn't have a lot of hope to get Arclight Phoenix going with his particular hand, but it could open up that door down the line. Okay, in for 3. That's going to bring Ichikawa down to 14, but he's looking pretty stable with his Trail of Crumbs Gilded Goose combo going.
Yeah, just slowly getting some cards here off the trail. Next turn, if he finds nothing, we might just see double food. Oh, okay.
He found a spear.
He found a spear, so that's going to be an answer for the Crackling Drake.
Right.
I feel like Yuuki probably wants to just make 2 food this turn. Instead of killing the Delver. He's at a decent life total, and by making 2 food, I mean that's essentially 6 life on the table too if you need it.
It is, and if you don't, you can split it up and go 3 life plus a card, or just get 2 cards, and it's going to be an avalanche, right? I mean, those Trail of Crumbs are going to be there, and they are going to provide huge advantage if Ichikawa can just be alive to take advantage.
Right. Because on the following turn, he goes food, sack food, get a permanent off Trail of Crumbs, play a land. You can still cast your Mortality Spear for 2 mana because you gain life.
Yeah, that's right. Land off the top here for Görtzen.
And Görtzen,
going to attack.
This is one of those situations where there's not a lot of play to your hand. You just play your things, right? You go, okay, yep. I'm gonna crack my Fabled Passage here. I'm gonna run out Crackling Drake, or play your land, what have you.
Okay, here it is. Crackling Drake on the stack now for Görtzen. This is going to need to find some serious action, though, because there's already a card in hand, and it's Shatterskull Smashing.
Huh. That kills the geese.
You know, as it sits right now, that would be good. But I think if I were Simon, you know, you see the food production start to form here, and you can see, well, I'll say it, down the trail, things don't look so good. There's going to be a lot of extra cards in hand, even with the flooding here from Yuuki. Yeah. My goodness, he found another land. Maybe he'll just find all lands.
So what are some of the options here with the Goose? You can, for the first one, you can just sack it with the Goose's ability.
This gives you more mana available.
More mana available if you want to try to look for Cat Oven or anything like that, or perhaps even a Meat Hook Massacre.
What do you think about a Soul Guide Lantern at this point? That's what he's looking at.
Not ideal. That's a 2 mana cantrip, I guess. It'll cycle.
I don't know what he's deciding between. That's the only one I can see.
Well, yeah. I'm going to tell you, it's probably not a land.
Maybe an oven.
Second, unless it's like a second tower or something. I don't know.
He's really pained at this decision.
Now, I wonder if he's going to try to play around a counterspell here and go for the Mortality Spear main phase. Simon does have 1 copy of Negate in the sideboard.
He did end up taking the Soul Guide Lantern, whatever the other option was. Now, Fading Hope could be interesting here, Paul. You know, if he goes for the main phase Mortality Spear, I think Simon will be thrilled just to bounce his Crackling Drake to hand.
Yeah, no, definitely.
He'll get a card out of it. He'll get a scry one out of it even.
Really curious what Yuuki does here. The thing is, if your plan is to cast Mortality Spear anyways, think you might want to gain the life here off the food, because that already gives you the cost reduction.
And
Also
then you can pay 1 for the trail and then still cast like you talked about before.
But also have to think about when you want to do it.
Well, he let Simon untap, so he opened up the door for negate, but I think there's only like 1 negate.
Yeah.
So he's probably okay with it.
Simon's so far done a pretty good job of drawing the last thing that he needs. So
yeah, Yuuki sticking with the numbers and not falling for the the emotional side of things. Here's the trigger from Dragon's Rage Channeler. Wow, that's going to be Unholy Heat going into the yard. And another Channeler.
Not ideal because of the Soul Guide Lantern that you know about.
How about Delver?
Okay.
Too little, too late for a Delver?
I don't think it's too late. I mean, if you can get it to flip, that is, of course.
This is a big attack, too. Look at this. Coming in for 11. It's actually a lethal attack.
So you block the Channeler.
And Simon says, yeah, sure, let's go to damage. That would be great.
Please?
No problem. But we're going to see a food token sacrificed here. That's going to trigger Trail. 3 life more for Yuuki, plus a payment, plus the ability to cast Mortality Spear for just 2.
Did he miss? I think he missed.
Oh,
Wow,
that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, and
that
Simon
almost never happens.
Yeah. And Simon does have the mana here to bounce Crackling Drake. Oh, wait. Doesn't have mana to bounce Crackling Drake and replay it this turn.
No, he doesn't.
No. Oh, that is rough.
Yeah, he's going to have to settle for...
That is rough.
Delver. Has he played a land, actually? Yeah, he won't have double blue in any case.
Just doesn't have it. He cast an opt, so that could have potentially cost him here, right? Going for that opt, because if you think Yuuki Ichikawa is on Fatal Push or Removal Spell, which is the 1 Mortality Spear,
yeah,
then
he could go he could Shatter Skull Smashing a Goose.
Yeah, these are things he can do, but it's not replaying Crackling Drake.
No, totally. No, you're 100% right, Paul. I'm just thinking, well, where do we go from here if I'm in Simon's seat? But it is definitely not to Crackling Drake Town, and that's where you want to be. And it's going to be pretty sad. That's just a Delver of Secrets after the fact. Another land off the top for Yuuki. How can he... He is running so awful here. He whiffed on a trail and then found another land somehow?
Are we... Oh, man. Are we cycling now? Man, talk about missing. No cat, no oven.
And he's had a trail since what, turn 2?
Turn 2 trail. All right, so setting up for a big mana play here. Maybe even a Luris turn?
Yep, that's what it is.
Hey, this Shatter Skull Smashing, probably going to see it cast next turn, right? Get that Luris plus a Goose off the battlefield.
And look at this, a Delver flipped as well. He's got 2 flipped Delvers now.
Oh,
and Yuuki can't believe it. The Delvers are flipping on turn 1, and he's missing with Trail of Crumbs.
And if he casts Shatter Skull Smashing or the Looting, that puts the sorcery. That gives him Delirium.
Whoa. 3/6/9? That would put Yuuki on life support here. Well, it looks like he's going to be content to just attack with the 2 Insect Elaborations. He kind of has to cast the Smashing here, right, Paul?
I feel like you do.
I mean, I think we've all seen...
Given that Luris can attack and gain life, right?
Right. I mean, we've all seen it, what happens when you let Luris stay on the battlefield. It is not pretty.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering why you might not want to have cast that pre-combat. Right? Because it would give you Delirium to attack with the Channeler.
Yeah, if it gives you Delirium, you definitely want to. Maybe
maybe it's a land. Maybe it's... Sorry. Perhaps it counts as a land?
Now we'll never know because there's a Delver in there.
Yeah.
Makes it all confusing. Oh, you kept the Delver, actually. No, you were right,
No,
Paul.
no, that was a 3-3. Okay.
You were totally right.
I was just doing a little sanity check for myself here.
That was a misstep from Simon. I think he
Yeah.
didn't recognize that the channeler would have actually been live and in the air. And you see a pause from here. Yeah, he's going to give the oops, Paul. You called that. Simon recognizes I could have got in for 3 more damage here. Sometimes that's the difference. Finally, an oven there.
That's an oven, but we're
Is
talking.
it too late? Is it way too late? He can play an oven plus a Colony Garden. Yeah, he's not dead.
Still alive. That Soul Guide Lantern also will shut off Delirium.
It might just be back down to Crackling Drake again. How many times have we seen this happen for Simon?
Right. And if that's the case, then for Yuuki, gonna really need to kind of try to find that Meat Hook Massacre.
Right. He's got the mana for it already.
I think just looking at the graveyard, how do I remove... What's the easiest way for me to remove Delirium here? So we got the Colony Garden. You can sack that for a food. We might need to be on life gain duties here. Gilded Goose can also make a food.
He's got 4 mana to play with.
Faithless Looting would turn on Delirium again if you discard the Delver of Secrets. However, again, active Soul Guide Lantern.
Feels like there's just always one sitting over there.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do board up to 4, right? So.
Okay, Dragon's Rage Channeler trigger is going to put Spirebluff Canal in the graveyard. And then Faithless Looting is going to resolve into Expressive Iteration and Consider. But look at that. Expressive Iteration or even just slam Crackling Drake. I guess he doesn't want to get swept away here, does he? And Dragon's Rage Channeler's back online. So we, again, life gain, maybe using the Soul Guide Lantern to shrink it down. It's kind of where we're at.
And Simon definitely, you know, wants to save that Drake if possible as the follow-up to that potential sweeper.
Ooh, there's an Arclight Phoenix.
Okay.
What has he played this turn already? Just the...
So you can put... This is the second spell, right? This is the Iteration and Faithless Looting.
Faithless Looting, yeah.
Right.
Well, that means this is the third spell, right? Oh, no, yeah.
No, this is the second.
This is the Iteration. You're right.
Right. Now, again, this is going to force Ichikawa. Oh. Oh, he can't... Wait, no. You can still flashback looting if you really want.
Yes. I wonder if Ichikawa wants to... Is there a window for him to just get that out of here too? I suppose not.
Yeah, but you have to think that it's really likely that Simon would have found a spell off this iteration.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but even then, you know, there's no interruption possibility here for Ichikawa. So here it is again, Faithless Looting, and another land goes in the graveyard off the Channeler. And there's another Phoenix. Does he put this one in the bin?
No, he
does
not.
Question.
He definitely does not. You keep that one in hand. Remember, 3/2 haste flyer still pretty good in this matchup.
Yeah, especially with the life totals getting there, because now Yuuki must use this Soul Guide Lantern to exile Simon's graveyard. That's going to nab a Faithless Looting. It's going to shrink down the Channeler and hit an Arclight Phoenix. So you can't ask for much more than that. But here comes the team once again.
All right, so what do we have here? We're blocking a Dragon Rage Channeler. Is the Goose going to get in front of something too?
Yeah, this attack from the Channeler is actually relevant, as, you know, at first glance, it's like, oh, Yuuki can just block with the Goose. But if Yuuki wants to block an Insectal Aberration with the Goose, then the Channeler can get in.
Yeah, man, and Simon's hand is just 2 more giant flyers. And right now, Ichikawa's on all lands.
Just nothing but lands. He's going to have to make a food with this Gilded Goose and probably sacrifice the plant.
Right, you can sacrifice the plant to the Witch's Oven. You can also sack the other creature to the Phyrexian Tower, as you're gonna lose both of your creatures here anyways. Yeah, so Tower, sack the plant, 2 mana, sack a food, gain some life, and find some meat hooks.
And that's kind of a prerequisite here to surviving. It's another trail of crumbs. What's next? It's another land for Yuuki Ichikawa. What is happening here?
And what are we doing here? Just looking for the meat hook here? You could still find one. A cat, maybe?
2 looks at it, and it's a killed goose. Does that keep you alive? Yeah?
It does keep you alive.
It does. This is a lot of treading water here for Yuuki Ichikawa.
This is a lot of chump blocking and a lot of gaining life.
So is Simon clear for takeoff with the Arclight Phoenix? Just throw it down and slam? Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay. So not dead still. Ichikawa can still has time here to find a massacre.
I wonder how much damage he's going to take here, though, because that second Arc-like Phoenix draw from Simon Görtzen means he's going to have a hasty threat next turn.
So this is going to put him to 5, but he's going to definitely sack 1 food this turn. It's going to put him to 8.
Okay,
after
so he's
everything
okay.
is said and done.
Yeah. He can't have that many lands left in his library. My goodness sakes. 3 more in hand for Ichikawa.
Just making it exciting. Going to go through all the geese. Yeah, I mean, cat would also be decent. Although it doesn't block the flyers, and that's the problem.
That is an issue. Okay, Witch's Oven's going to get activated, make a food. Bang, bang, in for 6, down to 5 goes Yuuki Ichikawa. Yuki's up a game here in our second match.
Oh, he looked happy. Oh, there it is.
Finally found it.
There it is.
Massacre. Görtzen has been preparing for this, though. Both in mental fortitude as well as his hand. He is nonplussed at this meat hook massacre.
This puts you up to 12. And then you can play the other Trail of Crumbs if you want. So a lot of life here to play with now for Yuuki Ichikawa. Now, if Simon decides to
promise,
or if Simon just decides to slam Crackling Drake, I mean, how big is that thing right now?
Oh, it's huge.
It's got to be huge, right?
Huge, yeah. I bet you Simon's pushing halfway through his library at this point. It's probably lethal.
Yeah, but that was definitely the card that he was looking for. Finally found it. So, you know, game's certainly a lot closer now. Yuki's on the verge of being able to turn this one around.
There's an Unholy Heat, not really what he wanted to see. So here it is.
Yeah.
Crackling Drake. It is 13 power and another Arclight Phoenix. So there's 3 Arclight Phoenix left, right?
Right. So what is he going to do? Is he going to sack the plant to the tower, then sack a food, go to 15, get a permanent off this Trail of Crumbs?
See what he finds. The Kilted Goose.
Simon has the answer. Oh! That is a nice one of Bone Shards here for Yuuki Ichikawa. He can play the Goose and Bone Shard. Curious to see if Simon will Unholy Heat with the food trigger on the stack.
Because that is a sorcery, isn't it, Paul?
I believe it is.
Bone Shards is a sorcery. There's a very narrow window for Simon to use Unholy Heat, although with that cat in hand here, Yuuki Ichikawa looks like he can get it done either way. Finding an answer for the Crackling Drake and scrapping back into this. And look at
excuse me. Bone Shards, you can also just discard a card to cast it. Excuse me.
Okay.
So that,
but
that
look at this.
Worked.
Yuki's up to 19 life now.
Yeah, and at this point, once you kill the Drake here, I don't even know if these Phoenixes will matter. Right? You have assembled everything that your deck is supposed to do. You've got double Crumbs, you have double Oven, you have Familiar, you've got the Massacre in play, and you've now killed the Crackling Drake.
Huge sequence here for Yuuki Ichikawa, turning this match around in his favor at the very last moment. It took him a lot of turns, but the life gain buffer from all that food absolutely took him to the point where he could find the Meat Hook Massacre and clear out the board.
Yeah, we're so used to just talking about how you can use the food as a card advantage engine for the Trail of Crumbs, but guess what? Helps you live too. Helps you survive.
What? Just have a little lunch.
Yeah.
Opt off the top here for Görtzen. He finds Pillar of Flame. He has Unholy Heat. No way to get these Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard, though.
Yeah, he's going to just have to start running them out. But, I mean, you just can't outrace what's happening at this point.
No. The engine is just too strong. It has the ability to both gain life and get card advantage at the same time. You know, usually this is something that you have to choose one or the other, but it's not the case for Yuuki Ichikawa, and looks like he's going to be able to pile on an avalanche of card advantage onto Simon Görtzen over the next couple of turns and clean up this mess. If he can finish it off, he will have won match number 2 and force that game, or that match 3 decider for the whole thing.
Yeah. Gonna tie it up here. Unless, I guess, the third Crackling Drake, right?
Yeah, that could help.
Might not even be enough at this point. I mean, Simon's down to 10 now?
Mm-hmm. And plummeting quickly.
And every oven interaction with Meat Hook Massacre in play is 2 damage.
Mm-hmm. Unholy Heat's going to take advantage of a little timing here. That's another damage, though. Down to 8 goes Simon Görtzen. Up to 19 goes Ichikawa.
Yeah, just now you sack of food, deal a damage, draw 2 cards. You have all the mana in the world. The graveyard has been shut off, so you can't expect Simon to somehow string together a bunch of Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard now. So he's got that angle covered too.
Right, you see that Soul Guide Lantern in hand here for Ichikawa. He's going to be careful down the stretch, but really, this is his game now.
Yeah, and he's got a... Whew. Is that a... Does he have a Hive of the Eye Tyrant in play too? So is that lethal, right? You activate Hive of the Eye Tyrant, attack in for 3... 2 cat rotations should be 4 damage.
Right? That is enough. And now Ichikawa could just go through the motions down the road here. He's got Trail of Crumbs, he's got cat, he's got oven, he's got another oven, he's got another cat. He's just doing it all. You see Simon Görtzen falling down to just 4 life here.
Yep.
Make it 3. Bring back the cat. There's the Hive of the Eye Tyrant jumping up into the red zone, and it's going to attack for the win. And that means that match number 2 goes to Yuuki Ichikawa as he's able to barely survive that onslaught in game number 2. Game 1 was a breeze for Yuuki. Game 2, he really ran horrible with all those lands and finally found what he needed with the Meat Hook Massacre there, Paul, to get the job done. And he's still very much alive. You know, Simon thinks it's a 70-30 in Yuki's favor, and they're going to play a match to decide it.
Yeah, and you finally really got to see what this deck can do, right? You can have those ideal starts like the way Yuuki played game 1, and it's almost unbeatable. There's really not much the Phoenix deck can do. And at the same time, I mean, with all the food that this deck can generate, it can just hang on, survive until you find what you need and stabilize. So, I mean, just... the deck just really proving how resilient it can be and why this is such a tough matchup for the Izzet Phoenix deck.
That's right. We're going to have to see if Simon can pull it out or if Yuuki Ichikawa can continue his winning ways after having picked up that second match. We'll be back with the decider after this break.
Hey everybody, welcome back to coverage of the Innistrad Championship. We're giving you all the value here with our championship match. We are tied up one match apiece. I've got Monty DeVuti and Corey Baumeister here. We want to give you as much content as we possibly can. Thank you for cooperating, players. Monty, when we came into this matchup, you know, Simon said it was 70-30 not in his favor, but now they've got one match apiece. Do you think that's still true?
I definitely think numbers-wise that may have been a slight exaggeration, but not by much. What I've really been impressed with is just, obviously silly to say, but the caliber of play that we've seen from Simon across these matches, because he's navigating these tricky situations so well, and all of his wins aren't coming by miles. It's really slight margin. So time and time again, he's just showing that he's a master who can navigate these really tough situations.
Yeah, the matchup being tough for him. I see him every turn having so many different options of what he can do as well. I'm sure I would always make the wrong decision in that situation. And Corey, too, you know, we're like, oh, we've been here all day. We've been doing this for 3 days. We're tired out. Can you imagine what the players must feel like right now? You've been in some tough tournaments. Talk to me about what they're going through at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just a mental grind, that's for sure, especially when Simon had to wait so long after making it to this championship match. You know, that's tough. But the one thing that I've been really impressed with from Simon is he's been able to recognize when he has to play a threat or when he has to kind of hold back and not get completely blown out by Meat Hook Massacre. So see him a lot play a Delver, play a Channeler as these early threats, then do a lot of setting up, and then maybe one Crackling Drake when, you know, you kind of have that vibe that your opponent does not have. A Meat Hook Massacre, and try to play around just as much as you can without trying to overcommit to the battlefield. So Simon has navigated that quite well. But yeah, it's still going to be a tough match 3 for sure.
So Monty, what will you be looking for here headed into match number 3? What will you have your eye on from both players?
For Yuuki, it's really going to be, especially in game 1, finding that Soul Guide Lantern. He only has 2 copies in the main deck, and that is the deciding point. If he doesn't find it early enough, then he may be in trouble, because we've seen Simon just time and time again set up these positions where by the time Yuuki finds it, it is too late. On Simon's side, it's all about having that early pressure. He's going to need a turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's all about making sure that he's on the board, he's in the graveyard, and then activating those Phoenixes before that Soul Guide Lantern is found from Yuuki.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Monty. Stuff to look out for here coming up in match number 3. Corey, I want to ask you about the way these decks have been playing out and players practicing beforehand. How much of it is down to play patterns, realizing this is what I normally do in this matchup and this is how I do it, versus being flexible based on the decisions your opponent is making?
You know, the one thing about both of these decks is they're incredibly proactive and powerful strategies. So it really is kind of about reps. You know, we see a lot, especially from Simon's side, since we've been looking at that a decent amount, turns when we kind of think he should go for it, or it would make sense to go for it, to like try to hit that extra 1-drop, discard some Phoenixes, bring them back and stuff. You see him being very conservative, playing Expressive Iteration, guaranteeing he's going to bring back Phoenixes the next turn, just recognizing when he's not in a rush. And same thing with Yuuki, just recognizing where he has to get aggressive and start trying to find stuff really, really quickly, like that Meat Hook Massacre there at that last game. That was huge, that tipped everything into his favor. So I would say, since they're both very proactive decks, they're trying to do their main thing, but with small adjustments as they learn the matchup throughout their play.
All right, here we go. We've got one more match to decide the champion of the Innistrad Championship. Here we go. Marshall and Paul, take it away.
Thank you, Maria, and welcome back here to the booth, the virtual booth, as it were, for coverage here of the Innistrad Championship. I'm going to make this really simple for you. We've narrowed it down to just one match. That's going to decide our champion. It's either going to be Simon Görtzen or it's going to be Yuuki Ichikawa. Whoever wins this match is walking away with the hardware and the money, and we get to decide it right here and right now. As we've mentioned, Izzet Phoenix versus Golgari Food. Very tough matchup here for Simon, but he's proven today multiple times that he can still beat it. You know, it's very rare in Magic that you find an unwinnable matchup. That isn't normally true. Even a really bad one might be a 70-30 or somewhere in that range. Hey, 30%'s a lot. Let's see if Simon can get the job done, or if it's going to be Yuuki Ichikawa finishing for his team. They have crushed this tournament. 4 people in the top 8 from that team. And this deck has to be considered the deck of the tournament here, the Golgari food deck.
Oh, absolutely. I can't. I'm trying to think the last time there was a deck this dominant. I mean, it might have been the Jeskai Mutate deck that they played and put almost 3 people, into the World Championship.
In the gauntlet,
but it's the same team.
It's the same team. This is the number 1 team right now, period. I mean, they have absolutely dominated that gauntlet event and now this as well. Okay, let's get underway here in our deciding match. It looks like a mulligan to 6 here for Görtzen, but he does have Dragon's Rage Channeler to kick off his campaign.
Not an ideal hand here for Simon. I mean,
You're just kind of
hoping there's a target here for the Pillar of Flame. You just want to cast your spells, but that other hand that Simon had, it had the pieces, but it really, he had a land that came into play tapped, and that was a big thing. It was just a little slow.
All right, well, Pillar of Flame to kill a Cauldron Familiar.
Oh, that's
almost
perfect.
Never see that happen, Paul. It is very rare. Remember, Pillar Exile, so that Familiar is good and gone now. Land, attack for 1, go.
That
Simon.
That expressive iteration was exactly what Simon wanted to see here.
Beautiful expressive iteration sitting on top of the library. That can turbo him forward into this game. He's going to cast it. Get a Surveil. Ooh, it's an Arclight Phoenix.
Yeah,
there's already a Soul Guide Lantern on the battlefield.
There is.
For
always
whatever
seems
reason
to be
in this
one.
match, there's just one all the time on the side for Ichikawa.
Right. So
this is game 1, by the way. It should be
Right.
worth noting. This is non-signboarded, Paul. So,
Yeah.
it's a main deck card for Yuuki.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen other mid-range decks play this, right? It's not the biggest cost in the world to put 2 copies of this card in your deck, and especially when you're playing the Golgari deck with Trail of Crumbs, finding removal effects that come in the form of permanence is extra valuable. I imagine Simon wants Consider and is putting the Pathway or the Fabled Passage away.
So is Simon just trying to force Ichikawa to use that Soul Guide Lantern at the earliest convenience here?
Yeah, he wants to basically try to string together enough spells where that Arclight Phoenix will trigger. He won't be able to do it this turn. Oh, wait, interesting. Does Simon... Okay.
I'm just going to play Consider as well. Oh, it's Finale of Promise
that is
on
a way
top.
that is a way to force Soul Guide Lantern. Don't think you necessarily need to do that.
Yeah, he's going to put it in the graveyard here. Okay, Delver of Secrets ultimately into hand, but just 1 damage coming across. Yuki's going to fall down to 19.
And Yuki's got a lot of removal here, but okay, that's what he needed, and he found it. Trail of Crumbs.
Beautiful stuff here from Yuuki Ichikawa, finding that Trail of Crumbs right on time.
Yeah, and this, if Simon... Oh, excuse me, he's going for the Meat Hook Massacre here.
Yeah, he's just going to wipe the board. These Ox of Agonis could be interesting, though.
They could be. It's a little awkward that he drew both of them.
Yeah, very awkward.
But for Simon, I think your play is just beat down for 3.
The good old-fashioned hard-cast Arclight Phoenix. It's going to get in 17 for Yuuki Ichikawa, but he's got to be pretty happy with the way that this has gone.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, he's slowly finding all the pieces.
He actually had all the pieces. It's just that cat got exiled.
Right. So, gonna want to find a cat or just any creature really to kind of get the ball rolling here. Of course, Trail of Crumbs by itself will help with that. Might have to take another hit from the Phoenix this turn doesn't really have a great way to sacrifice a permanent. I don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to sacrifice that Soul Guide Lantern. If possible, he wants to be able to put that Phoenix into the graveyard and then pop the Lantern. I wonder if he's considering playing the other Meat Hook Massacre here for 2 and then popping the Lantern.
That's tempting, right? Getting 2 Phoenixes just out of the equation entirely. No, he's going to take another 3 here.
Yeah, not the biggest clock.
He's already at 17, or still at 17. Oh, he can do this and then play Fatal Push with the... Having sacrificed the Soul Guide Lantern, it'll actually kill the Phoenix and then exile.
Oh yeah, really, really big heads-up sequencing there from Yuuki.
And this is just going to be
now
Ox
we're
of
just down to
Agonis.
the Ox.
Just slam it. And he finds Channeler, Faithless Looting, Unholy Heat. But here's Luris.
And he just gets the Lantern back.
That's really bad news here for Simon.
Simon does have the removal spell. I imagine he's going to use the Unholy Heat here on Dolores, running out the Channeler first, of course. Get that Surveil ability going.
Channeler's on the stack. Now Unholy Heat to kill Luris. But this is why Luris is so good. It must be killed, and even if you do, it already got value. Ooh, Simon's considering keeping this, yeah.
Delver.
Maybe just feeling like he needs as many threats. Nope, he's going to put it in the bin.
Okay.
And he gets a crack for 4. It's hard to imagine that this Ox of Agonis is going to be able to make a lot of headway on the life total, but an attack for 4 is nice.
I mean, especially with Yuuki having the other Meat Hook Massacre in his hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he can play this one out for 2, wipe out the board, and Simon is basically on nothing. Right?
Especially with that Soul Guide Lantern back again, because normally you'd start to think that the Ox would be a factor, but no.
Yeah, I don't think Simon has... when they flashed over, I think it looked like he had 5 cards in his graveyard. So
yeah, because remember, he's already had his graveyard exiled once this game.
Exactly.
Tough.
And
okay, Faithless Looting does find an Arclight Phoenix that Simon can just cast and start attacking again. I mean, you know, the way that Yuuki Ichikawa has built his deck has really forced Simon to play an extremely fair take here. You know, underpowered for Historic for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the complexion of the game is so different when you do find that Lantern, right? We saw Simon able to win games where, yeah, Yuuki just didn't have the Lantern and he just kept getting those Phoenixes back out of the graveyard. But now, Simon can't play that way. Simon just has to play Phoenix and, you know, hope it gets the job done.
He's considering discarding.
Okay. Right, so we're on the Force Lantern plan again here.
No, he's going to change his mind, it looks like.
Okay.
Oh. He doesn't have enough.
Did he miscount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 8 other cards.
It's 8 other cards, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah,
I think he thought he could play the Ox.
He did. Because if you can get it to that point, you can put it on the stack and escape, and there's no response window for Yuuki. Right. But it has to be enough to do it, which is why Yuuki let it happen.
Yeah, and if Yuuki can find a way to kill this Phoenix and then exile the graveyard, that'll put Simon on just actual nothing.
He'll literally be out of... Yeah, have no cards in hand, no cards in graveyard.
Now, Yuuki does want to start developing his board. He's missed a few land drops here. He's got the Trail of Crumbs, but with the pressure that Simon has provided, hasn't really found an opportunity to cash in those food tokens into cards.
You got to feel like Yuki's so close to just running away with this game. Trail of Crumbs food. He's at 13 life facing down a 3-2.
Deadly Dispute is a nice way to really maximize your chance of finding a mana source. You can just sack the food here.
Mm-hmm. That's what he's going to do.
Okay.
And he found a mana source. In fact, two of
Found
them.
lands. And Yuki needs to be really mindful of that Ox, right? Simon is one card away from escaping that Ox of Agonis.
Yeah, just the Faithless Looting would remove a card in the yard, but then replace it with two new ones. Right?
I wonder if you're just supposed to go for the Lantern now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens, and all that work from Simon the prior turn goes away. Wow, that's got to be the best draw for him, though. Expressive iteration into another Arclight Phoenix.
What? Okay, so now that's 6 in the air here.
It is.
Put that Channeler in your hand.
Okay. That's what you wanted to see if you're Simon, and Ichikawa is like, oh no.
Really? Okay.
I had all my bases covered, but not that one. Down to 7 he goes.
Right, but you know, Yuki's done this dance before. You can sack a food, go up to 10, so not quite, not dead here. Probably wants to play a land. I don't know if he wants to play the oven. I think he wants to play a land and use both activations of the Trail of Crumbs here. Try to find another Meat Hook Massacre, maybe.
Yeah, the oven's just not doing anything yet, and he can cast it next turn if it's going to.
Right. Oh, and just might as well do it now. Okay.
He found a Ravenous Squirrel, but that's still not good enough to get in the way of these two Arclight Phoenix.
So a Phoenix off the top won't do it.
Not quite.
But this is a 2-turn clock here from Simon.
That's right, and the Squirrel's not going to change that. Ooh, Unholy Heat.
Okay, and that's...
Is there... Does he get to get rid of the Squirrel with that? He does, doesn't he?
He gets to kill the Squirrel, too?
And get a Surveil.
Oh,
and it's
Pillar of
Flame? That might be a turn difference in terms of clock.
Yeah.
That's a tough decision.
So
because if it's not relevant, it's going to be really not relevant. And if it is, it's going to win you the game.
Because you put Yuki down to 4. Oh, he's keeping it. He's won with it before.
He has.
Now, Yuki does have Cat plus Double Oven, right? So that's...
Yes.
It's a good amount of life and resources here.
Oh, man. And he has the Meat Hook Massacre as well, let's not forget.
Oh, jeez.
So Simon's life total is going to start going down. This is so close, Paul.
And he can't find a Massacre and play it next turn.
He's only at 5 life. He's facing down 7 power right now.
So the Cauldron's Familiar is coming into play. He's going to go up to 6. You can play Witch's Oven, right? You can you can block and sack the Familiar and go to 9. So I believe Simon is
he goes to
short?
9? Oh!
1 short? Is there a way to... I don't think Simon has enough cards in graveyard to get Delirium here, right? We have
I would assume not.
There's an Unholy Heat in the graveyard. Is that it? There's an Expressive Iteration too, I think.
There is. So the pillar won't change that either way. Okay, in comes the team.
So we're gonna see block, sack.
This is so close.
We're gonna see block, sack food, go to 9. Alternatively, if Yuki decides to just return Cauldron Familiar, Pillar of Flame will be lethal.
Oh, it will be.
Oh, and he's returning it for value, so this Pillar of Flame's gonna get it done.
No way!
Yes!
He's only gonna be at 8 life?
He's gonna be at 1!
He goes to 1, and the Pillar of Flame finishes him off. Yuuki Ichikawa cannot believe it. He could have played around it, but he didn't. And Simon Görtzen, as always, a cool customer, picks up game number one.
Pillar of Flame. I mean, because
Simon kept that on top.
He saw that Simon, right? He saw that Simon topped that, and he's trying to think, what was it? What did you keep? It probably wasn't a cantrip spell because he didn't play it before he attacked. What could it have been? It wasn't a
Simon
Phoenix.
in this Pillar of Flame is just unreal. He just kills people with it.
Yeah? Is it burn? There are other modes.
I believe he won that game.
Yeah.
So close for Ichikawa.
I think Yuuki just really wanted to kind of maximize the chance of finding another massacre there, thinking, okay, really unlikely that there's another Pillar of Flame. There's only two in the deck.
It was the last one. Yeah, it was.
There was two in the deck. There's one, right? But then you also have to think, how can I lose this game? But, you know, one of the avenues that you lose is you don't find the threats that you need off the Trail of Crumbs, right? There's exactly one card in the deck that kills you right there, right?
That's right.
You go down to one. There's only one direct damage burn spell left in Simon's deck.
And you have to remember that from Yuuki's, you know, it's easy to sit here and think, oh, he could have just gained the life and lived. Why didn't he do it? But he also had to come up with a plan. Look, if all he did was live for the turn, he's dead the next turn. He still needed to find stuff. You know, it's a tough beat, but I think that that's what he needed to do there. Oh man, Simon just coldly fires off that pillar for the win.
That keep.
That was gutsy stuff there from Görtzen. Game 2 incoming. We are in the deciding match. Simon is one step away from becoming your Innistrad champion. Remember, he won Pro Tour San Diego back in 2010. This would be another win on his resume if he can win this game or the next. As for Yuuki, he had a great run back in 2013, 2014 with multiple top finishes, bursting back on the scene here, and he'd love to put a cherry on that sundae and make it a trophy.
Oh man.
How do these openers look, Paul?
I know this is like an arena event, but is there some way he can find that pillar of flame and frame it somewhere? Maybe take a screenshot, blow it up. I don't know.
Never trade it. Yeah. Simon has played the more aggressive version. You know, we noticed that he's played the Delvers as well. Those are not necessarily stock for the list. And Simon's got 4. All right, here we go. Faithless Looting. He's got an easy discard with the Arclight Phoenix. And for once in his life, he's not going to see a Soul Guide Lantern unless one comes off the top of the library here. And of course it does.
You're a prophet.
What is going on? He just never doesn't have it. I mean, Simon's had to play this entire 3-match stretch just with his graveyard under duress the whole time.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to see Yuuki play it this turn just because there is no way to get Phoenix into play on turn 2.
Right. No free spells here.
But, I mean, Yuuki's hand is really nice here, right? He's got you have Deadly Dispute with double Squirrel in play, and you have a Gas to sacrifice. So Simon can't even run out this Dragon's Rage Channeler. You can sack the Gas and give it -1/-1.
That's right. Simon with a little bit of a clunky situation here on his hands. He can either play Channeler or Expressive Iteration, but he'll basically have to use Iteration as a card selection spell because he just basically gets to take one of the top 3, put it into his hand. He's going to do it, though. He doesn't want to leave that mana fallow, and it actually worked out okay for him here. You got to consider. Ooh, Trail of Crumbs now as well for Ichikawa.
Yeah,
he's going to have to start off with Dispute, though, to get the mana.
These squirrels are going to get out of hand.
Yeah, they're going to be
very
huge.
Quick.
And he found the land and a cat.
I mean, if he wants, he could attack for 10 this turn, right? There's 2 treasures. Well, there's 2 treasures and a Soul Guide Lantern. So he could just be like, all right, hit you for 10. Good luck.
You know, Simon's deck is really not equipped for that, right? He's got Fading Hope. He can do a little bit, but once those squirrels get out of range from the burn spells,
All right, so this is gonna be +3/+3 for the Ravenous Squirrels here. Gonna draw 2 more cards and gonna get a treasure. Oh my goodness. This is insane. This feels like we're playing a different format here.
It really does. Plays the Soul Guide Lantern.
Jeez. Turn 3, take 12?
Look at this. Simon Görtzen just
14
says,
if you want.
nice.
Hey, you know what?
Could be 14.
If you make it a 7/7, you can't even unholy heat it.
That's true. It's actually tempting to do that. Puts you to 2.
He's thinking.
He decides against it ultimately. Down to 4, 2 lethal threats, and another expressive iteration certainly is not what Simon wanted to see off the top. Yuuki Ichikawa, yes, a very tough loss in the first game there, but looks like he's having none of it here in game 2 as he picks up a turn 3 victory over Simon Görtzen. And now we're going the distance, Paul. It's always like that with us. Got to go the full length. It's going to be one single game to decide our champion.
Last game of the last match. Simon Görtzen here, if he wins, has a chance to put 2 trophies on his mantle of these top level events here.
So few people have that, you know.
Yeah.
Set championship, mythic championship, pro tour level
tours.
events.
Yeah.
Yeah, winning 2 of those is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Unless you're
really,
Kai.
really short list.
He's going to be on the play for this deciding game. Yuuki just needs to take a breath here.
He's still.
He's like, wow, this is stressful.
It's like, oh, wow. We're playing for it all here, aren't we? This is it. This is it.
Simon looks like he's going, oh, I forgot to mail in the light bill. Make sure I do that.
Put my
tonight
laundry
after
in the
this.
dryer. Did I?
Yeah. But that's just his demeanor. Believe me, you, inside, underneath that cool exterior, he's deadly focused on making the right play. That is what motivates Simon Görtzen. I would say, Paul, it motivates him even more than money or trophies. He wants to play correctly. That's what interests him about games like Magic.
All right. Don't think this is a keepable hand here for Simon.
Delver into pillar and then
Not
just
enough.
cross your fingers. Boy, I would not want to put my tournament on that.
Not enough action. You want iterations. You want cheap threats plus card draw. Oh, is he keeping this?
He's thinking about he's going to keep
my.
it. And this is going to be a disaster. There's double fatal push there for
push.
Ichikawa. This Delver's not even going to make it to Simon's turn.
Yeah, and Ichikawa's got a nice start here. Turn 1 Shambling Ghast into potentially a dispute, right? Especially if Simon's Delver doesn't flip.
Oh, but he did
Okay.
transform it, and it was
Perfect.
the best possible
Card.
expressive iteration off the top. That is what Simon needed to get back into this thing.
And Pillar of Flame the Shambling Ghast.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Huge swing there. That could have been it. Like land off the top, no flip, and it's a disaster.
It's
now
just
all
game
of a
over
sudden,
almost.
Simon gets to slam for 3. Now look, Yuuki has the answer for the aberration. This thing's not going to go the distance.
Oh no. This is just very much a game, but
Yes.
but
It was almost very much not a game though.
exactly. If he didn't find anything there.
All right, now he can play expressive iteration and try to reload. Okay, not the best, but fine.
Yep. You get
His
to,
namesake, Pillar of Flame.
Yeah, you get to keep a removal spell, exile an island, play an opt, but that opt's gonna have to do a lot of work here.
Now, maybe he's just going to send this plant
Okay.
into the salad bowl. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, fill up his graveyard with some various card types.
Yeah, he's going to get max value. Passes a turn back. Little plays like that can really add up, right? When your opponent's playing cards like Deadly Dispute, you know, having an expendable creature around really matters.
Yeah, you've seen Simon be very aggressive with his removal spells on any creature. That includes a plant token.
Yeah, and it'll include a ravenous squirrel as well, though that's a much more
yeah.
juicy target, as it were. Another Delver.
Hmm.
You know, it's interesting, Paul, because he definitely wants a threat, but is that the one?
I mean,
So slow.
we're kind of at the stage where you just want a bunch of crackling drakes, maybe just more expressive iterations.
Ooh,
Okay.
faithless looting.
Wow, I mean, can you imagine if you can just find a couple of phoenixes
Phoenix's
here?
Pillar of Flame, the squirrel, get in for a
Oh.
bunch? Okay, there's no
Oh,
Phoenix.
still alive.
Oh, jeez.
Still alive here.
Oh, jeez.
And I mean, okay, Yuki is very happy until he sees this other faithless looting.
Yeah, he's going to have to
Simon's
hold his
got to
breath.
go for it here. I mean, he's got nothing.
He really does, and he finds two more
and
on
a
land.
miss.
Disaster for Simon
Yuki's
Görtzen.
gonna fist pump here.
Yeah, he's like, don't put two Phoenixes in. He's going to be so relieved when he sees this, Paul. And look how long Simon's taking. Yuki can barely take it.
What if there were two Phoenixes and he was doing this?
Oh, that would be brutal. Land.
Love watching Yuki's face during all of this. So
He
animated.
gave him a little round of applause there, but still, it will be Pillar of Flame to take out this squirrel and leave the board empty, but Simon's in big trouble now. He has only Fading Hope with +2 Faithless looting in the yard, nothing else going.
This Deadly Dispute's gonna basically draw 3 cards here,
Yes, and one of them's going to be the best of the two, I'm assuming the permanent.
and Simon's down to just a Fading Hope.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I heard, we talked about that earlier in the tournament. Fading Hope is sometimes aptly named, and that could be exactly where Simon is at right now. His hope fading on that second championship trophy. Because look at the difference between the hands here.
Yeah. Ichikawa's hand is loaded. Simon just needs to string together some crackling drakes. That's I think where we're at right now.
Yeah, try to top deck a crackling drake or looting into one. Because now there's 2 Trail of Crumbs. There's another land off the top. All right, Faithless looting. Let's go. He finds Grim Lavamancer and a Delver.
So probably pitching a land,
Is it just time to discard the Fading Hope?
possibly, and just run out the Lavamancer.
Yeah. Or even
But
the
I
Delver.
mean, Yuki's hand. Previously, it's been an issue for Yuki just because he hasn't had enough removal spells to deal with all of Simon's flyers. But he's got the answers to everything.
Yeah,
right?
he's got card drawn removal. That's really all he's drawn this game.
It's so crazy too because game 2 he was just this Golgari Death Shadow deck, right? Just attacking for 12 on turn 3 or 14, and now he's just a control deck. He's just got all the removal spells.
Playing the rock. And there's a Witch's Oven going into hand. There's another squirrel. Look at this action here from Yuuki Ichikawa. He is putting a beating on Simon Görtzen, and he doesn't have a creature on the battlefield.
Yuki, just the important thing here, stay above 2 life. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's
Stay
your
above 2
advice
life.
to Yuki.
That's my professional advice.
I would also be thinking very much about that 2 life threshold if I were in Ichikawa's. See, the good news is he's at 11. And if he wants, he can kill this Delver and just take nothing. So what is going through Yuki's mind now, right? He recognizes, look, I've got 7 cards in hand versus your 1.
I think
he has to start be thinking like, this is mine to lose, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking, how can I mess this up, right? What is the worst possible thing that can happen? I am so far ahead. I'm going to try my best to play around everything. I'm in no rush to try to kill you. I'm just going to continue developing my resources, developing my boards, and make sure that I can't lose to 5 top decks in a row. That's what he's thinking about.
Yeah, he has the luxury being this far ahead of playing around multiple card sequences, which, normally in a game of Magic, you don't, right? You have to say, well, if you get those sequence of cards, then I will lose the game and I'm going to have to accept that. But here, Yuki's just stacked hand 6 cards. He's ahead on every metric here outside of life.
Yeah. Ox of Agonis could be an excellent card to find here.
Okay.
Because Yuki doesn't have Graveyard Hate.
Faithless Looting shows Shatter Skull smashing Delver to join the Fading Hope in hand here for Görtzen.
Yeah, and this is just not going to get it done here. Yuki's got 3 removal spells.
Man, everybody at home in Japan has to just be screaming for Yuuki right now. They have absolutely crushed this tournament. Not only this team, there were 5 Japanese players in the top 8, 4 from the team. It's unbelievable the performance they put up here.
I mean, yeah. Let's just say Japanese Magic is in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they just got the whole world on notice.
We've got the world champion, and Yuuki Ichikawa is very, very close here to becoming our Innistrad championship winner.
Going through the motions. He's got a Ravenous Squirrel that's getting bigger and bigger. Dragon's Rage Channeler, kind of the last hope here for Simon at the moment. Oh, a second Ravenous Squirrel now. Plus a Witch's Oven.
Oh, jeez. This deck can turn it around so quick, can it? I mean,
it sure can. 6 power on the battlefield, and those squirrels are going to get completely out of hand. Simon's considering, do I need to use Fading Hope on one of these squirrels to stem the bleeding and I can augment my draw step? Feels to me, Paul, like the only option is for him to string together the Crackling Drakes like you mentioned. And if you take a look at Yuuki Ichikawa's hand, he's got that covered.
Yeah, I'm thinking Fading Hope, Ravenous Squirrel, put Ox of Agonis on top of your library, put that into your graveyard, play the Ox, and still probably lose, but hey, you have a chance, right?
Okay. He's going to draw his card. It's an Arclight Phoenix. He does have Ichikawa down to 11. It's just those squirrels are going to be so big that they can survive the Meat Hook Massacre, where Simon's stuff will not be able to. In comes the Dragon Rage Channeler, and that means that Arclight Phoenix is going to be home here. Witch's Oven sacrifices the Goose.
The old defensive Arclight Phoenix.
He may just have to cast it. I mean, he can do that or play the Fading Hope.
Right.
I don't think 1 squirrel will be enough to kill him, but I wouldn't put it past 2 squirrels to kill him.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. He probably boarded out the Oxes given the 4 Soul Guide Lanterns, right? Oh. I don't even know if that's an out.
Possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
But yeah, I mean, Yuki's got basically all of his bases covered and is really close to just even, you know, I mean, this is a 2-turn clock here for Simon.
I just can't believe this performance by this food deck, by that team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have put together an incredible, last 6 months of Magic, right?
Yes.
Starting from the gauntlets into the World Championship, into this tournament.
I mean, it's been domination. Like, really, this team particularly, but Japan in general. I said it a minute ago. They put the world on notice.
Yeah.
We're on top. You got to come knock us off if you want to. And unless something insane happens here, Yuuki Ichikawa is going to finish off Simon Görtzen in a few turns here and claim the title.
Yeah. I mean, I think he might even just be doing math right now to see if he can kill him this turn. Of course, Simon's got the Fading Hope, but Yuuki just trying to close it out this turn if possible. But he doesn't need to. He's at 14.
He's going to play Bone Shards to discard one of the redundant copies of Meat Hook Massacre and destroy Dragon's Rage Channeler. Sure, Simon could save it, but is that where you want to be? You'd rather just bounce one of the squirrels.
Right.
He's going to do that in response. Well, he still has the Dragon's Rage Channeler on the board. He sees another one. That one immediately goes to the bin.
Yeah, I mean, is there a way that... I mean, now that this Channeler is done, even if Simon somehow got all of his Phoenixes and put them into the yard,
there's finally a crackling drake on top of the library.
Yeah, but this
Just
point,
feels too late, doesn't
it? Just has to be too late. I mean, you can grow your squirrel to be bigger than a 4/4 and then just run out the massacre for 4.
Yep. Ravenous Squirrel's going to hit again. There's Cauldron Familiar. The Witch's Oven is in play. The 2 copies of Trail of Crumbs are there. And he's going to get maximum damage from that unsummoning 6 squirrel right now by doing a Cauldron Familiar loop. Yeah, he gives up the Trail of Crumbs, but he gets in for 6, down to 10. Goes Simon Görtzen. He draws the Crackling Drake. All he can do is put it on the stack. He finds Unholy Heat, which would have been pretty nice. He actually has Delirium, but he doesn't have the mana for it.
Let's see. Does Hive of the Eye Tyrant get it done? Right? You have to block the squirrel. You attack for 7.
7 and counting.
7 and counting.
He can sacrifice the food and still fire up the Eye Tyrant.
Right, and that drains you for 1. Gets you down to 9. And attack you for 8.
Oh, this is really close. Yuuki Ichikawa on the verge of victory. Squirrels are now 8-8 and 5-5. He's going to activate pay for the Trail of Crumbs. Get the Cauldron Familiar back. He found Colony Garden.
Oh, and is he... Oh, and then he just plays a Meat Hook Massacre. No, he can't do that for 4, can he? He can.
Yes,
yeah.
he can. So he can do Meat Hook Massacre for 4. Now, that won't quite give him lethal here, though, right? He's going to be 3 short.
3 short, okay. Huh.
And he passes the turn back, but what can Simon possibly do here? There's nothing he can do to survive the onslaught of value from Yuuki Ichikawa. He can fire off... He finally found the cards that he wanted, but it's just too late. Unholy Heat will kill one of the squirrels, but Simon's down to just 2, and you see that Hive of the Eye Tyrant hiding back in the land slot. This is going to be good game, and your champion is Yuuki Ichikawa from Japan with an unbelievable finish. Congratulations, Yuuki!
What a run from these players from Japan.
He's going to take a moment to celebrate here. He really was just the spearhead on the weapon of choice here. This Japanese team demolished the competition. And you know what? This food deck was a big part of why.
You are the champion. It's probably coming to him slowly. Oh, Simon. Great run here by Simon, of course, as well.
Incredible run by Simon. Awesome to see him back in the high-level feature matches, just 1 game away from a championship. But ultimately, it's Yuuki Ichikawa, your Innistrad championship winner.
And, I mean...
Wow. So impressive.